Hey, Donna.
Hey Sherry. Hey Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Hello. Hey, we have it. Do we have this all figured out yet? Yeah, I
W-
think so.
Well, we're going
Hi.
to help you for a minute. We'll give you a crash course. If you if you want to share the link, that little up arrow at the top will help you do that.
Got it.
If you want to send up an emoji, click on the heart at the bottom, and you can put any emoji that's available there. Um, you know, for your
Got it.
emoji pleasure. If you hit the little wing at the bottom, you'll see sound effects.
Okay.
So
There you go.
we typically stay away from those just because they interrupt the conversation, but sometimes we throw them in there because they're part of the conversation. So we will let
Sure.
you figure that out.
Okay.
Brian is on his way, so we're going to give him a second to catch up with us because he works in the real world. So
Poor guy. Yeah.
the rest of us just pretend to. So let's get him up here. While we wait on him, I'm going to remind our listening audience that they can find any of our past spaces interviewing guests on my YouTube channel at Sherry Pluskota 9212, or you can scroll through my Twitter account or Brian's Twitter account or even Donna's Twitter account to find the old episodes and interviews. So we hope that you do that. And that's, a lot of our audience listens on the replay, and we appreciate them as much as those that listen as we're doing it live. So our co-host is here. Welcome, Brian.
Hey Jim, hey Sherry, how are you guys doing?
Great. I'm excited to be here. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, guys.
We try to make it informal and lots of fun. So I want to thank you again. Some of our audience may not know that you attended our meetup game in Vegas, and it was a pleasure to have you.
It was a
And
great one.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was definitely a fun day filled with all kinds of exciting prizes. And we were really excited that so many were willing to give us those prizes to make the Splash the Pots fun.
Yeah. Are you guys planning another meetup game this summer as the annual festival comes around again?
Um, I, at this moment, do not have a meetup game planned. There was going to be one, but it's kind of been, I don't know, it's on the back burner.
It's
Somebody asked
hard.
me, well,
It's hard to
somebody,
organize stuff down there.
well, it is and it isn't. The one that I was asked to do was for somebody's birthday, and there's just some other things that may take place instead of a poker meetup game, which, whatever. It'll be fun no matter what we do, right?
That's right.
But I might try to throw one together at the last minute, depending on once I see who's going to be where when. Um, and whose dates match up with my dates. So we'll see. We're going to kind of feel it out. You're right. It is kind of hard to do at the WSOP time just because there's so many festivals going on. But before I continue, I want to stop and take a moment to introduce you properly. Our guest is Jim Reid with Rec Poker, and Jim grew up in Toronto, Canada. He hosts a podcast twice a week with Rec Poker and offers many things that we're going to discuss that will help the average Joe or Jill poker player get better. Jim has over 15,000 in in total live earnings with a best live cash of a little over 5K for his recent sixth place finish in the Six Max tournament at the Irish Open. And I should note that Jim is big time online poker player. And I want to say that you probably prefer that, don't you, Jim? Or am I just guessing there?
You know, I've played so many more hands of poker online that in a way I'm more comfortable playing online, but I actually prefer playing live. I think the experience of playing poker live is more for more fun and more like life-giving than playing online, which is a bit more of a grind.
Right. And I don't play online. I'll do it for special occasions or charity or whatever, but I'm definitely not an online player. So I totally agree that live is probably, well, it is my favorite. So anyway,
Mhm.
um, I understand that you joined Rec Poker as a premium member, and that evolved into you becoming the podcast host and poker coach. And I think that
Yeah.
is so interesting. So I want you to tell us what that looked like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was someone I've always enjoyed poker as an amateur and just as a recreational player. I played with my cousins and aunts and uncles growing up, and I played in high school with my friends. When I went off to university, I actually started our poker club at University of King's College out in Halifax. They didn't have one at that point, um, and always hosted home games. And I just never really thought about it as something as more than just a simple hobby, to an excuse to sort of hang out with my friends and let my hair down. Um, but I got into playing online when I was just finishing up my college degree, and I kind of fell in love with the study of the game, and I started really getting into the math of it. And I never planned to do anything more than be a winning amateur player, but I really did taking it more seriously. Got Poker Tracker 4. Um, I ended up winning a pretty big tournament online in Poker Stars Biggest 22 back in 2013, which was a $22 tournament that I won a little over $35,000 in by taking first
Nice.
place. Yeah, so that was a huge. I mean, that's you're never going to get that. You're never going to get that kind of multiplier. There was like
That's
14,000
amazing.
runners in the tournament. Yeah, it
And,
was
and
ridiculous.
Stan.
so
That's amazing. And you brought up that you started the first poker club on campus. Tell
mm.
us, I kind of read a little bit about that. Can you tell us what the third poker table in that game looked like?
Oh, yeah, you've done your research, Sherry. Um, so yeah, so we had we would host the games in my apartment, which was just near campus, just off campus. And I just had this little one bedroom, so we started playing around the dining room table, and it became more popular. And so we started playing around the dining room table and a large coffee table that we kind of put up to it there. And then we eventually needed a third table, and so we would take the doors off my closet and put them over the bed and play on the sit around the bed playing on the closet doors. So yeah, we were an enthusiastic bunch. That enthusiasm, I guess, is probably one of the things that you'll find is a constant with me, certainly when it comes to the game of poker.
I love it. And how do they say it? Necessity is the mother of invention,
That's
right?
it. Exactly. And it was kind of necessity that brought me to rec poker in the first place, because my I ended up marrying my college sweetheart, and so she was around for all that poker, the fun poker home game stuff that we did in Halifax. And as my 40th birthday was approaching, she and a friend of mine kind of conspired to arrange this trip down to Vegas to play in the World Series, because I'd done pretty well online. I really enjoyed the game, but I'd never thought to go and sort of take a shot. And so I had about a year before my birthday to come up with, I had to like get better at poker. I had to really start taking it seriously, because I was going to go play in the freaking World Series.
Right.
And so I had to choose a training site. And I had listened to all these podcasts, and there's so many great training sites out there. But Rec Poker just seemed like the one where the people were like the most approachable, and where I felt like I could find some peers and some mentors in a way. Um, and I was like one of the first premium members. There were only like 9 of us when I started. And as it happened, the original founder, Steve Fredlin, fantastic guy, had cultivated this crew, this core team that I was able to just kind of join as they were forming what Rec Poker would become. And then Steve, who's a passionate guy, but he's always interested in sort of like starting the next big exciting thing. He wanted to step back further and further over the years. And so the wrecking crew, the rest of the leadership panel, and I kind of stepped in to fill that void. And now that he's gone completely, I mean, we run it as a group effort. It's very much like a co-op here, but they need to have someone to host the show on Mondays. So that's mostly what I do over there. But I'm very, very pleased about it. And I mean, talk about just hitting the right spot at the right time.
Well, and I think some of our audience will be surprised at your answer to this question. Tell us who is part of the wrecking crew.
Oh, well, I mean, the Wrecking Crew is made up of a series of serious amateurs and professional players. So it started as kind of this core team of, I use the term gentlemen very loosely in this case, but a good fun group of guys from Minnesota. And then I crossed the border and got involved as a Canadian. And now there's, let me see, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 14 of us in total, including a few pros. Daro Carney's been a member of the Wrecking Crew for a long time. Kevin Mathers, so we've been pleased to be supporting his efforts in the poker info sphere. Chris Fox Wallace joined fairly recently. He's been a great friend of the show for a long time. Mark Zhang is another pro who's on the Wrecking Crew, who offers his coaching along with other Wrecking Crew members. And then, like I say, sort of that core team of rascals from Minnesota and myself. And then we've just collected a few fantastic other members along the way, like Kim Kilroy, Joe Coolis. I mean, too many to name, Eric Jin. But yeah, it's a fantastic group, and I'm quite privileged to be sitting at that table.
Well, it's a great group indeed. And, we in Spaces love Kevin Mathers because he joins us often. And he's actually, and this is going to be a little bit of a release of information, he's actually supposed to be our guest next week, but keep that mum's the word for right now.
You got it.
And
I heard nothing.
And of course, Dara has been one of our guests, and he's always a delight and just another wealth of information. Tell us. I'm going to tell you what. Go ahead, Brian. You asked some questions. I'll take a break.
Sure. Yeah. So also Ryan Lamplant, right?
Yeah, Ryan. I was going to say Ryan Lamplant was probably the biggest friend of the show and the site. He's not officially on the Wrecking Crew, but that's only because I haven't gotten down on my knees and begged him to come on board and be more officially part of Rec Poker. We've talked a lot about ways that Learn Pro Poker and Rec Poker can work together. We love supporting Learn Pro Poker. What he and Kale and the gang there have put together is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like that's actually probably the first place I heard about Rec Poker was Ryan. We're talking about where I think he was coming on the podcast many years ago, probably. I don't know. How tell us a little bit about the history of Rec Poker.
Yeah. Steve started the podcast really just himself as an excuse to talk about poker with people because he didn't have a lot of friends that loved poker, but he was developing a love of poker. He and his friend Stacy, and they wanted to talk to people about it as a game that they could like teach their kids to play and learn, just like spend some quality time together. And that was in 2016. And then it turned into sort of a weekly podcast that Steve took through a few models. At one point, it was sort of became like a panel conversation about various subjects in poker. That's kind of when I joined. And that was in 2019. And so at that point, they just launched the training site at rec.poker, where most of what we do is based through there. And right now, I mean, it's got so many facets. It's kind of overwhelming to me sometimes with there's the podcast, there's the training site. We do a ton of free videos and material on YouTube. We've got, Discord, the forums. We do live events and road trips to other members' areas and stuff like that. I know you mentioned Ryan LaPlante, and one of the things that I think is the coolest about what we do at Rec Poker is the connectedness between the best people in the poker world. Like, there's so many great training sites out there. One of the things that we do is we work with them to bring our members to their material. So a lot of the great training sites out there, and started with Learn Pro Poker, allow us to share 15-minute clips of their premium material to our members each month, as we explore different themes of the month every month. And so members at Rec Poker can go take a little taster's choice of 6 or 7 of the best training sites out there in the world, see which ones work for them, and then go on and try a paid membership at one of those sites. So we really try and kind of connect the best people in the poker world. We kind of feel like we're in that middle place between recreational players who love the game and want to get better, and pros who love the game and want to help other people get better. I've got the best freaking job in the world. I say it all the time, but it's true.
Yeah, that's really cool, because I think that well, I don't think in my experience in signing up for some of the different sites, I find that well, actually, let's just go back, like even back to back in the day, Johnny Backs had, and Sheets, I think it was, had Poker X Factor.
Sure, yeah.
And the thing that I signed up for a while, and there was really like one video that I liked. It wasn't just taking anything. I shouldn't say that. It wasn't like that I liked one. It was just one was like, so it was the way the person taught the concept and the concept they were teaching, and really it goes back to um um this idea that that different people teach things different ways.
Yes.
So it's really hard um to for some people to really understand what they're saying sometimes, like just the way they teach it and that kind of thing. I guess
I think that's
a long way to say that.
no, I think it's really important, because it's sort of like the game of poker itself, right? There are multiple equilibriums available, and that's the same as teaching and learning. There's so many different ways of learning. Good teaching really just comes down to adapting to the learning styles that suit your clients or your students best. So
well, and you know what? I want us to touch on that. And Brian, I'm going to let you know your sound is terrible. Just an FYI, if you can fix that, it would be great. But let's just circle around to your to what Rec Poker offers. And just briefly, there's 3 paths. I'm going to name one, and I want you to tell us a little bit about that path on the website. So
Sure.
the first path is Learn Path.
Yes. So we, our slogan is play, learn, belong. And we think that, poker at the heart of it is a game, and it's about fun, but it's more fun when you win. So our learning stuff is pretty important to us, because we try and focus on what are the lessons that newer players really need to get to the next level, and then what are the lessons that more experienced players need, but that are still sort of, like we say, not professional players, but are playing in small stakes games. So a lot of our stuff focuses on small stakes, exploiting the kind of players that most players are going to see in the casinos and card rooms that they play in, and we do that through seminars that we produce here, material from other training sites that we base around our theme of the month every month, interactive Zoom study groups or hand reviews. We do 5 to 7 of these every week, where you can just jump on a Zoom call and speak with some peers, other members or Wrecking Crew members, and get some coaching in a group, or explore these different kinds of concepts together. Everything's easier and faster in a group. We do a lot of our stuff in a group. and then sort of like using the forums to explore some of these other ideas as well in long form, turn-based learning for some folks. So that's kind of the learning path that you're talking about. It's mostly videos, interactive Zoom sessions, and then various written and like image-based learning opportunities as well.
Awesome. The next path would be the connect path.
And this is really about forming relationships with other poker players and finding out different parts of the poker world that you might love if you just gave it a try. So we have live events, we have road trips, we have our online home games, we have our different community groups and our different study groups. And all these things are basically, they're ways to find out who are the people that I have things in common with. And the more of these things you engage with, you're going to encounter the same kind of people, the same groups of people that have are interested in the same things that you are, the same geographic regions, the same aspects of poker, live versus online, cash versus tournaments, that like studying the same way that you like studying. And so you can actually make some real connections with other serious, fun recreational poker players. And I mean, it sounds kind of trite because I'm a big rec poker fan, but I mean, when I joined in 2019, I did not have a lot of poker friends. I had really good friends, and I knew a couple people online that knew about poker, but I didn't have poker friends. And now, 5 years later, like some of my best friends are people that I've met through rec poker. And like when I get to travel around and meet up and like, yeah, these are some of my best friends. It's amazing.
Well, and to your point, that networking is so important in the world of poker because you're out on the road and you're by yourself.
Oh
And
yeah.
hotel rooms get lonely, and
Mhm.
eating dinner by yourself gets lonely. And so to have that network, or guess what? I may be able to split the cost of a room with somebody, which helps me with my financials, right? And so
Huge.
I think you're 100% correct in how important that is. Now, the third component on the site is resource. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so everything that we've talked about so far is part of, a lot of that is just part of our free material, our free infrastructure of the platforms here available on the website. Ultimately, Rec Poker is about making the recreational poker world better for free, and it's free to sign up for. And a lot of what we do is always going to be free. Uh, the resources tab, there's some free stuff on there, like the free YouTube channel, some discount links that you can use to get poker products from other organizations. But it's also where you can kind of accelerate your learning through more paid learning stuff. And most of this comes through like coaching. Our Wrecking Crew members, a lot of them offer coaching either in groups or one-on-one to our members. But you can also get coaching from a lot of our learning partners, like folks like Brian LaPlante, like you were talking about earlier, Brian, and other fantastic folks on our Learning with Partners group. And I think it's a fallacy that a lot of recreational poker players think that, oh, I'm not a serious enough player. It's not worth it for me to get coaching. And I really, really want to push back on that. I think it more like if you're someone who enjoys golf, you would pay $50 or $75 to go get a swing lesson down on the driving range from the local pro, not because you'd plan to go make that $75 back on the course the next day, but just because you're investing a little in this hobby that you love and you're going to be better at it. And poker's like that, except that you can actually make that money back on the course the other day.
Right.
So it's a way of really indulging your hobby, but also investing in yourself. And there's nothing wrong with being a losing player. Like having a budget to play poker is no different than having a budget to go to the movies or go play golf or something like that. But if you can turn that budget into a bankroll just by investing in yourself a little bit and spend some of that money on education and training and not on just going in and putting it on the table, I think you'll find it's a pretty good investment in the long term.
I think you're right. I absolutely think you're right. Now, the one thing you haven't mentioned, which I want to make sure that we do, is that you guys offer a free newsletter. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, thanks. It's called Twerp for This Week in Rec Poker, and we're kind of dorks over here, so we go for the silly little humor stuff like that, like the Wrecking Crew for our leadership panel, and Twerp for the newsletter. It's just we put in some free stuff that's happening every week, and some premium events that we want to feature so people know that they're happening, and then if there's any great sales that we know about in the poker world, we rec poker's come a long way. We work with a lot of great poker organizations, and we can usually negotiate a discount from them if people want to take advantage of some great sale that's coming up. So we've started putting more of that kind of stuff in the newsletter as well, especially when things like WSOP are coming up. Some of these other training sites will put some great sales out there as people prepare. And if you can, save 15 or 20% or something by buying it through us, that helps us. It helps you guys. The partner knows that someone's reading our newsletter, so it's a nice win for everybody. Yeah,
Absolutely. I'm going to do a little bit of house cleaning for a minute and want to give many thanks to our sponsor, Elevated Results. If you need a tailor-made workout program due to injuries, health, or otherwise, Elevated Results can help you lose weight or gain weight. Check out their Twitter account or their webpage at elevatedresultspt.com. Thank you. Donna, did you have any questions for Jim?
Yeah, I've stayed awake especially because I knew it was Jim.
it's
And I
great
had
to
to
hear from you,
torment
Donna.
him. I think that your YouTube channel is a hidden gem.
Oh, thank you.
And it is not utilised by the people it should be utilised by. And the dice are fucking rigged.
They're awesome. The crew is awesome.
I love you,
the
Donna.
podcast.
Yeah, I know she's great, isn't she?
I love it.
Yeah, it's a passionate group. I mean, it is a passionate group. We actually, the part of the problem, Donna, is that we're all recreational poker players, and like we all have day jobs, but none of these day jobs are like marketing online poker sites. You know what I mean? Like we all have different strengths, but none of us that have come to it so far are particularly savvy like advertisers or marketers or so rec poker's grown very like slowly and organically. I'm with you. I think we've got a freaking cracker YouTube channel. Well, I think it's just getting the word out is without the right pieces in place, the right we're a mostly volunteer based organization, so we don't have like a marketing budget. You know what I mean? So we're growing slowly, but we're having a really fun time doing it, and hearing from you stuff like that is really kind. I appreciate it. I know you know a lot of different YouTube channels out there, so to single us out means a lot.
Yeah, when I'm awake, I'm usually in the chat anyway, causing havoc.
Yeah, you're no stranger to the podcast chat. I know that for sure.
No, I'm not stranger. Tell them about the food bank as well, because I think that's a big thing that not a lot of people realise. That you do this competition, and you write food bank in the chat, and you roll dice, which is fucking rigged.
I have no comment on whether it's rigged. We specifically took that off my desk.
It's fucking rigged, I'm telling you. But tell them about the food bank, please, because I think that's very, very important, especially for people to understand that you're not just into poker, you're into other things as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Donna. Thank you. It's once you have a platform, whatever it is, and once you are, able to speak from a place of relative privilege, I think it's just important to try and help the people that need help more than you do. So I've always been very upset at the amount of food that gets wasted, particularly in North America. It's actually freaking tragic, if I do say so myself. So much food gets just thrown away. It's gross. So many people are hungry that need food and aren't able to get it. People with loved ones that are counting on them. And, I think we get this sense that, the only people that would go to a food bank are really desperate, people that are unhoused, or we'd have this sense of like a spectrum and people being at the end of the spectrum of wealth. That's just not true anymore. The fact is, these days in particular, a lot of people need help putting food on the table. And it's people that you might not expect. It might even be people in your neighborhood or in your community. And, part of what we do at Rec Poker is to kind of reduce the stigma of the word rec when it comes to recreational poker players. We think you can be a rec.
We've lost him. He's connecting. He's being muted.
I thought it was me for a second. I guess that's not really good, but
Jim, if you can hear me, just go back out and come back in and we'll get you back up, bud.
I think that's, one of the things while we're waiting for him to come back that I've thought for a while about rec poker is just this concept of, if you look at any of the top level pros, like they all have their community that they can, go with and stuff like that. And rec poker really offers that to everybody, to from somebody that's just coming into poker to somebody that's been around for a long time. So, it really fills a gap, that.
And I love the word he used, mentors. All right,
yeah.
Jim, I sent you an invite to speak. So you can click on that, or if you request in the bottom left corner. If that's
sometimes it takes a minute for it to catch up too, Jim.
Yeah.
So you might be hearing us a few seconds ago or something like that. So
no worries, Jim. This is typical space stuff. So don't let it discourage you. Just go back out of our space and come back in, Jim, and we'll see if that'll work.
Try closing the app if you're either way, if you're on your desktop or your phone. Close the browser or close the app.
I think another thing that people don't realize is they have fantastic guests on as well.
Absolutely.
And the amount and wealth of knowledge that you can actually get from the guests and actually ask questions, which Jim or Chris or anybody else will ask the guests for you, is amazing.
Absolutely. And they are really, it's really a training site interview where we're just a fun and let's get to know them kind of interview. They really dive deep into hand discussions and topics of interest in the poker world as well. But they really focus on the training, and I love it. I love when I tune into their podcast. I'm always learning.
Now, Sherry, it sounded there like he was saying that Donna adds some spiciness to the chat. I'm wondering, what are you saying over there in that chat log over there, Donna?
Well, Brian, you'll have to tune in.
Okay, give me a thumbs up, Jim, if you can hear me. Jim, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. He may have lost his server or something. Well, we'll give him a few more minutes to figure it out. So, Brian, how's your work week been going, bud?
It's good. I got a question for you, actually, Sherry.
Yes.
Should I keep that photo I sent to myself, or should I send it around?
I'm thinking you should probably keep that one to yourself.
Now people are thinking all kinds of inappropriate things.
All right, Jim can hear me, I think.
All right.
Jim, press that request button in the bottom left corner, Jim. and that'll give me a prompt to make you a speaker. Let's see if we can go about it that way. I wonder if he's on a desktop. If you're on a desktop, you may want to move to your phone.
Yeah, that definitely.
The phone will definitely be a better way to come into a space. So if you're on your desktop, you may want to switch to your phone, and don't panic. I mean, we're not going anywhere. We will wait for you.
Yeah, Jim made his presence known at the Irish Open. He did really, really well. Everybody loved him. And I was so happy and excited seeing all the updates from Jim and all the friends that he made at the IPO. I was just gutted I couldn't get over there to actually see him again.
I hear you, honey. Here he comes. Let's try it again. We'll give him a minute to connect.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, what was that? I was on a desktop.
Yeah, the desktop component has really just kind of been added as a speaker component. Up until probably a month or 6 weeks ago, you could only listen via a desktop, and then they were able to add the speaker role there. But obviously, there's still glitches there. So,
Well,
no problem. We're used to it here in the spaces. No problem.
I heard Donna talking about the Ireland trip. Donna, I made so many friends over there. I could not freaking believe it. Honestly, I'm a pretty friendly guy, but I was blown away at the reception there. It might be
That's
like the
awesome.
friendliest place I've ever been. That was
All right.
amazing.
Well, we're on that subject now. Tell us why we should go to the Irish Open.
Oh God. Well, I mean, if you can make it happen, make it happen. So it's always the week leading up to Easter. So I don't know. It'll probably be like the first week of April in 2025. But okay. The social scene is phenomenal. So like we'll talk about the poker in a second, but Dublin is such a awesome, cool city, and the people that go to the Irish Poker Open are such a sweet mix of like all the people that you look up to in the poker world, but also just a ton of really friendly Irish and European players and Canadians for some reason. Just a ton of Canadians out there at the Irish Poker Open. But just the vibe is awesome. Everyone's extremely friendly. The tables are friendly. It's they've got this fantastic entertainment area set up right adjacent to it with all sorts of fun events and competitions, and they're like just throwing prizes away every night. And then the poker itself is just it's really good. The buy-ins are like between 200 to 600 euros, which is a pretty good.
Nice.
It's enough that it's worth kind of saving up for. The top prize is big. There's a lot of excitement involved, but it's not so much that you got all your eggs in one basket and that you're like stressing out over losing it in the same way. So it was a really nice fit there. And like I say, you get a lot of people that I think it's their only time playing every year as they go to the Irish Open.
That's awesome.
It's great. The cash games are great. The tournaments are great. And I went with my wife this year. It was our first time, and
Awesome.
and she turned to me after the week and said, "I think we're gonna have to come back next year." And like she doesn't even play poker.
I love it.
Yeah.
So tell us logistically how far is where the casino is from the airport, transportation. Was it easy?
Yeah. So the featured venue for the Irish Poker Open is the Royal Dublin Society, or the RDS over there. It is in town. I guess it's in a pretty Tony part of Dublin, probably about maybe a half hour from the airport in a cab. Pretty reasonable. There are places to stay nearby, hotels and Airbnbs. We were able to get a place about a 12, 13-minute walk. And so I just walked it every day, which was no trouble at all. And, you know, I mean, Dublin is kind of an expensive city. So when we were starting, I think, Sherry, you were talking about finding friends to travel with and like the importance of having a community. It definitely if you can go with friends and split a hotel room or split an Airbnb or something, that'll make a big difference because it is an expensive city to live in. But there's lots of great food options there too. So you don't have to bust your wallet open just feeding yourself, which is nice.
Awesome. And so when you talk about that 12-minute walk, is that a 12-minute walk a female would do by themselves at 1 o'clock in the morning?
I was kind of, I mean, my first tournament day, I took sixth in the six max.
Right.
And so I had like like 5,000 euro in my pocket from the cage. And I did have this thought like, okay, so now I'm just going to walk for 12 minutes in a city I don't know down the street in Dublin at like 3 a.m. But honestly, it's in a really nice neighborhood. Like I said, it's in a bit of a Tony neighborhood.
Okay.
So I never felt like there was anyone that shouldn't be there or anyone that was sizing us up. And it was not like people knew that the poker players were there. This is an annual event, and it's sort of like when the footballers are coming in for a match. Like you kind of know
Right.
when we're there.
Right. Of course. Now
But I didn't
go
feel
ahead.
unsafe at all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. We women always need to be concerned about that, of
Absolutely.
course.
Yeah.
Now, let's circle back for a moment. Could you just put a dot on the I of the homeless project that you work on?
Yeah, I don't know when we lost you. That was when I was talking earlier. I don't know how much of that you guys actually got.
We heard probably most of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, just the long and short of it is that everybody, like wants to make the world a better place, and a very easy way to do it is to support a local food bank. If you want like a really big ROI on your time or your money or your donation, supporting a local food bank is a great way to put your support directly into the hands and mouths and tummies of people that actually need it the most. So from a poker player's point of view, like the ROI is great. You get to help people in your own community. And it's just one of those basic things that I think no matter who we vote for or, where we pray, I think most of us would agree that people that are struggling to eat should find a way to get food in their stomachs. And if it's easy for us to help, then that's an easy way for us to
Okay,
help.
so do you guys just donate? Do you hold poker charity events? Tell me how you do that?
Yeah,
What is your plan of action?
Mostly through donations. When we do live events, we do a combination. I mean, depending on if there's a food bank in the region that will work. I mean, because there's still kind of a stigma from poker. So we usually reach out to a group of food banks in the area where we're doing a live event and just see if we can collaborate on raising some money for them or having some bins out for people to bring non-perishable food items to the events. We usually get a mix of those. Like the last one we organized was in Minnesota at the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. They're our sponsor, and they've been a big supporter for a long time. So when we go there, we like to work with the Second Harvest Food Bank out of Minneapolis, and we'll usually just ask people to bring donations. Sometimes people will offer cash donations. We solicit cash donations on the show, and then we share them with regionally divided food banks around North America specifically. And then we also, if you're on the YouTube channel and you send a super chat, that's just a way of donating to Rec Poker through the YouTube channel. We share, we take half that money and we give that to a local food bank as well. So most of it is donation based. We've looked at doing some charity tournaments. Different regions have different rules about what is and isn't allowed, and we'll probably do more of that sort of here and there going forward. But it's been hard. It's been harder than you'd think to sort of just organize a charity tournament from
Well,
scratch. Yeah.
it absolutely is. It's something I've actually done. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. I've done
Yeah.
them a couple of times myself, and like anything else, there's always hard work and elbow grease involved, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So,
And I think
but
it's one of those things that gets easier, the more often you do it.
oh yeah.
I'm one of those people where I just feel like the first time I try and do anything, I'm like really bad at it. So
Well,
I
lucky
much
for
prefer
my
doing things the same way.
community, I've done so much charity work over the last 35 years
Mm,
that when they're getting an email from me or a phone call, they know I'm here asking with my hand out and I'm working on a
right.
project. So, I have all that set up. So it's kind of gotten easier through the years just
Sure.
because of that networking. But anyway, enough about that. Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, Sherry, I love this. Like, it seems like there might be one thing in the world that it doesn't have to be politicized. Like,
Right. Yes. Yes. Exactly.
like people are hungry. Let's get together and feed them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just love that, so
That's
I think it's really cool what you guys are doing, and really, it fills a gap. When I first got into poker, I remember thinking, my gosh, like, I don't want to, the last thing I want to do is hang out with poker people, because you heard all the horror stories,
Sure.
and it was probably 10 years of going to the WSOP before I really even hardly talked to anybody.
Yeah.
And then I started to find little groups of people that, and you start to realize it's really not that it's not that the mass of the people are these terrible scammer kind of people, but that the few make a lot of noise. And yeah, you should probably be a little bit careful and not be low. I always have this philosophy, Jim, is it with the, you always hear every year this person loaned this person money and never got it back and all this stuff. And I just always had the philosophy for myself that if I had to borrow money to play, that meant I had a gambling problem.
Yep.
And so anybody that ever came to me and asked me, no offense, like, but that's kind of like the thing that rolled through my head. And maybe you don't have a gambling problem, but like, I'm certainly not going to get involved in that. So, but I think it's really good what you're doing, because if we aren't bringing new people into the game, then, eventually this game is just kind of dying off, so it always needs fresh new players coming in. And I realize, by the way, that, Jim, like, rec poker doesn't mean like you're brand new to poker. It's just that it's such a value. Like, if I had realized coming in, I mean, my friend and I joke that he spent $4,000 to learn how to shuffle chips, because that's how long it took him at the table. He would have saved so much more money if he could have just joined the community right away.
True. It's true. And I mean, so two things from that, Brian. Like, I completely agree with you. I think to be a recreational player just means that you're not a professional player. It just means that you don't derive your income as a poker player. So that's all we mean by recreational poker player. Someone who plays for fun, which I think is what we all should be doing. But don't get me started. And when it comes to the community, you're absolutely right. And don't. No offense to any other like dentists or car salesmen, but if you get 100 dentists or 100 car salesmen or 100 poker players or 100 professional athletes or 100 accountants in a room, some of those are going to be bad apples. It's a human problem. It's not a poker player problem. It's just that, poker has this kind of in the shadows of the saloon, the smoke filled room, guns under the table kind of thing that is, embarrassingly outdated, but I think it does stick in people's minds.
I think it's really important what you said, though. And I don't want to skip over it, because last summer I had a conversation with somebody. The person's multi bracelet winner. I don't want to say who it is, but very you would know this person for sure. And I said to them, listen, I'm thinking about what I want to do. Like I write software. I've done all kinds of technology stuff. And really at this point in my life, I only need to make a few $1,000s a month. And so what I'm kind of toying with the idea of is like maybe just playing poker, like to make up that gap. And he said, well, how many hours a week and at what stakes are you planning to do that at? And we came down to that I would have to probably play, I think, like 2-5 or something like that, really, to do it. And he's like, you know how hard it is to beat the 2-5 game? Like, he's like, are you honestly, do you honestly think that that you're beating that game? And he said something I'll never forget. He goes, most of the people that are making money in the poker room are the dealers.
Yes.
And the ATM is always a winner.
And it just really changed. And this is a super smart person that I'm sure is multiple times better than I am, saying this is not the easy path. Mm-hmm. And I think that, for me, it's always been about the experience more than even winning or losing necessarily. Obviously, you enjoy the experience more if you're winning, but I've always gone into tournaments with the idea that money is gone. I'm not ever going to be gambling with money that I don't have.
Now tell us, Jim, do you play any of the mixed games?
Not for money, because I'm just not very good at them.
Well, you're smart enough to know it. I think you're already ahead of the game.
I do enjoy them. When I grew up playing, it was 7-card stud and 5-card draw, and some 5-card stud, and then some of the weird, 7-card variations. And I think they're more fun, and I think that the less experienced players have less of a gap between them and the field than they do in like No Limit Hold'em or even PLO. But I I kind of have a hard time just dipping a toe into things. I kind of go all in up to the elbow when and get my hands dirty. And I'm kind of worried about opening the Pandora's box of mixed games, because I'm having enough trouble just, keeping my head above water at No Limit Hold'em. And that's where I try and keep my edge. But I think I'll always like enjoy playing mixed games in like friendly environments and like maybe super low stakes if the right people are at the table. But I'm always trying to get better at No Limit Hold'em. That's always kind of my goal, at least for right now. So I try and sort of stick to it with most of my like rigorous analytical time.
I love that. And I too, the mixed games for me, I don't know. I've been trying them for the last couple of years, and quite honestly, like Omaha, I hate it. I just hate it. It's just a suck out game. Everybody wants to see the river, and then whoever's sucked out on the river is the fucking winner. Excuse my language. So that doesn't, to me, it's like a no brainer. And when I play cards, I like to use my brain. And no offense to anyone that loves that game. God bless you. It is for you. Please continue on. It's just not for me, and it's okay.
Yeah. But people should try some different mixed games though, because they are a lot of fun. in a way, they're kind of the future of poker. I don't think they're going to get solved in the same way that No Limit Hold'em's going to get solved at some point in the next little while. So, and like they're just so much fun. And I do think it would be a shame if the poker world moved on from some of these great mixed games.
I agree totally. And there are some that I will probably try to focus on over the next couple of years because I did find them fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind doing a low buy-in like Pineapple. I've done a Pineapple tournament. I loved it. I would do that again. But I'm going to hop on to the poker psychologists or psychiatrist sofa for a moment.
Do it.
Because first of all, due to lots of health issues over the last 2 years and life just getting in the way with, my kids have my first grandbaby, blah, 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 blah. I just haven't been studying poker like I did, or traveling to play, or even playing locally like I normally do. And so now I'm in Spokane, Washington, waiting the arrival of that new baby, which nobody's counting, but it's 37 days away. That I am like 10 minutes away from a card room, and I was so excited because I was like, okay, I am going to be able to get lots of practice in before the WSOP, and I'm excited because in Georgia we don't have poker, and so my closest legal poker game is 3 hours away.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
And so it takes me a little effort. And, when I sit down at a table, I'm already $500 in the hole because of travel.
Right.
So anyway, to make a long story even longer, so I've been playing poker here and I've been playing damn good poker. And I find myself on the edge today after shooting 2 bullets, winning one hand the entire time, winning one hand. And I found myself so in doubt of my game and questioning, what am I doing? Do I really know what I'm doing? Am I really reading this correct? Like the self-talk, right, is so detrimental to myself. And yet I'm saying to myself, but I'm doing the right things. Like, for instance, the last hand, and we normally don't talk about bad beats, but I just want perspective here.
No, let's do it.
The last hand, I'm in the big blind. The blinds are 500 and 1,000. And this guy, I have 4,500. So I have 4.5 big blinds, right? And first act shoves me all in. No, he bets, so I'm all in. Another guy shoves all in. And of course, I look down at pocket eights and I'm like, well, I'm going to be blinded out here. So I might get another 10 or 12 hands. At least I have a pocket pair of eights right now, right? So I can risk these to, triple up, or I can sit and just blind out. So of course I shove in, right? I shove in. I'm hoping to triple up. Hopefully they both have each other's cards, which they did. Ace Jack versus Ace Queen.
Okay, pretty good outcome.
And what's in the window, Jim? Come on.
No, I know.
What's in the window? They're two outer, right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm second guessing myself. Was that the right move or wasn't it the right move?
Yeah.
And the self, and honestly, you can go on over the last week. What has happened to me at the poker table. And I feel like, you know what? It's time to get back into the training, right? It's time to get back into the training, because when you're in that training, that self-talk is not going to be so detrimental. And it's not going to creep in so easily when you are going through that. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, I think, poker is such a complicated game that it's impossible to consider every factor in real time while you're playing and make what is, unambiguously the perfect decision. The perfect sizing, the perfect action. So all we can really do, poker's a game of limiting the mistakes that we make. We want to make smaller mistakes than our opponents and fewer mistakes than our opponents. And especially as recreational players, I think part of it just comes from the comfort of knowing what to do in various situations. The more that you are studied, the more that you are familiar with, what you want to be focusing on in the game. Not only is it, just comforting to sort of know that you have some of this stuff handled, but it also frees up the rest of your brain to work on the more complicated stuff because you're practiced, you've internalized a lot of this, and you are feeling like a studied, prepared player. And even just that confidence, it matters in a game like poker, not only because it kind of frees you up to, instead of worrying about things or berating yourself, to actually take in more information and be a better analytical thinker, but confidence is something that people pick up on so unconsciously, subconsciously at the table, and it's an asset as a player. So it's really, you get it coming and going. Not only does it make you feel better, but I think it makes other people give you more credit too, and it makes you harder to play against. So who knows what the right amount of study is for you or the right way to study, but I do think arming yourself for the battle at the table is really, really, really smart.
Well, and I appreciate that. And, I've always been a confident player. So on the ride home, I was like, why are you self doubting yourself? You've been playing poker a long time. But that also was a realization of, oh, but you're doubting yourself. So, yeah.
Well, some of it's just variance kicking you in the butt, right? I mean, we all get into these downswings where we just can't win a flip. And you can be the best poker player in the world. If you're not winning flips, you're not going to have a good month or quarter or year. And we are all human. And you start thinking, I don't even want to take any flips now because
Yep. Now, I'm going to tell you that never crossed my mind today.
Okay, good.
And I'm going to tell you that every hand that I called or played, I totally read the hand correctly. I read the player correctly. I was ahead going into the raise call or whatever. And then runner, or just the river, I'm drowning in the river.
Yep.
And, I'm saying to myself, you're playing like you're reading the situation perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. There was not one time today that I called a raise or an all in that I wasn't correct in the call. Not one time.
Yeah.
And so, you have to look at that and say, but you're doing the right things. And there just happened to suck out runner for a flush.
That's it. I mean, honestly, it's hard not to be attached to the results, but the experience that you've described, I would be ecstatic about having that experience, where I was making good reads and getting my money in good. Like, boy, that's all you can actually control. We talk about, like, is poker a gamble, a game, or a skill game? It's definitely a skill game in the long run, but like on a hand by hand basis, what cards come out are it's very, very important in the short term. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, when you play tournaments, for instance, almost everyone goes home bittersweet. Actually, that's not even true. 85% of the players just go home pissed off with nothing in their pockets because they only pay the top 15%. 14.5% of that 15%, it's a bittersweet experience because they made a little money, but they didn't win.
So true.
The only person who feels like they did anything right at the end of a poker tournament is the person who won the whole damn thing. And even they got lucky a few times along the way. I freaking guarantee it. I mean, especially in tournament poker, the results are going to kick your butt no matter what, whether you're a good player or not. And if you're getting it in good, if you're making good reads, if you're
sizing well, and if you're taking the right, opportunities to invest in a pot, then I, I wish I knew how to wave my magic wand and sort of, make that bad beat less painful. But I kind of revel in them, to be honest with you. At this point, I'm like, okay, all right, okay, poker gods, keep it up. What's next?
And
Come around.
And
Yeah.
here's, I had it was like the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other today, which was really the first time I caught myself doing it, because it was like, damn, you're playing really good poker. Like,
Yeah.
you made every read correctly. You never miscalled a hand. Like, you read what was going on at that table, and, you're calling out what they have. So you're paying attention, and you're, all those things. And then the other shoulder, this little devil over here is going, you suck today. You just had 2 bullets and you won one hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it shouldn't be, because, as you said, I should be saying, hey, you're playing damn good poker. Move on.
Yeah.
Like, move on. Like, it's really not that big of a deal.
It's really sick. I always thought maybe I'm a little crazy in thinking this, until a friend of mine, he won millions and millions in the main event, but didn't win. And he sends me a text like 2 days later, like, I woke up yesterday depressed. And then I realized how stupid I am. But I totally understood it. Like, only a poker player will understand that. Total life-changing money, and you're just bummed.
I read there was some study, one of the Wrecking Crew members brought this study into our conversation last year, that the rates of depression and suicide are higher in silver medal winners than in competitors that didn't podium.
Oh, wow.
Because there's that, I was so close, like I missed out by one kind of thing.
I'm the first loser.
Yeah.
That's what my daughter would say when she would come in second in a tennis tournament.
Right.
And she would get a trophy, and she would inevitably say, I don't know why they keep giving me a trophy. I'm the first loser. Nobody should be getting a trophy when they're the loser. And I'm the first loser, number one loser, And I would try to, but that's how competitive, right? We're competitive. And, and we used to just laugh at her when she didn't, even when she won the first place, she would take the trophy and stick it in her tennis bag so nobody knew she won.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's like a motivated competitor.
Yes, she didn't want the attention that trophy brought. She just wanted to win the tournament and just leave right away. She didn't want all the accolades, none of that.
Yeah.
And we used to just, people would watch her. I'd say, just watch her. Because they didn't believe me. I'd go, just watch her. And she would take that trophy, open her bag, throw the trophy in, look at me and go, are you ready? Yeah, we're ready. Let's go. But anyway, it's just a mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's sort of that competitive. Now, I like to do something called rapid fire with our guests. So I'm going to give you 2 choices. I want you to pick the best one that suits you.
Okay.
And of course, you're always welcome to pass.
All right. I like it.
Football or hockey?
Football.
Pizza or burgers?
Oof, burgers.
Beer or whiskey?
Beer.
Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
No limit or limit? I think we figured
no limit. Yeah.
Grape or strawberry jelly?
Strawberry.
Eagles or Steelers?
Oh, come on now, Sherry. Jeez. Steelers, here we go.
All right, let's talk about that pick of strawberry jelly. Let's talk about, and I'm going to post something. I'm going to post something in the chat that it's a picture of something I found the other day. And for some reason, I thought of you.
Okay.
And for those that don't know, Jim loves to carry a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with him wherever he goes. That's his like backpack snack for at the poker table.
It's true.
And so everybody, I'm going to see if I can't post it in the Jumbotron. Give me 1 second, because this little thing right here, Jim, I think has your name written all over it. Do you see it?
Oh, yeah.
It's a cutter thing that you put on your sandwich. It cuts it into bite-sized pieces.
That is pretty cool.
And they use a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I was like, Jim and Alan Kessler both need one of these.
Oh, that is great. I can see how that would be helpful. See, okay, here's the thing about the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, though. I actually have a very carefully devised system where each one comes in its own Ziploc bag. So when I'm eating at the tables, I don't even have to touch the sandwich itself. I just have to open the bag, slide the portion that I'm going to eat up through the top. And then my grubby paws that have been touching cards and chips all day never end up touching the sandwich at all. And I don't get like peanut butter on my hands in case someone else has a peanut butter allergy or something like that. So I got this whole system cracked. I feel great about it.
Jim, I think you're overqualified to do the Rec Poker podcast. That was some next level advice.
And I'm just going to tell you folks that if you don't have a plastic baggie with you because you didn't bring your snacks with you, and you actually ordered something at the poker table, ask for a couple extra napkins and just pick up your food with a napkin.
There you go.
I've been doing that for 10 years, people. You don't have to, be dodging COVID to use a napkin to pick up your food at the table.
It's true. Yeah. Like the Rio flu is a thing, even though it's now, I guess it's the horseshoe flu. But yeah, there's a lot of good reasons not to go touching your mouth once you're playing poker.
Yes.
God.
And, we all have better immune systems because we are poker players touching that nasty stuff for however many years you've been in poker. But that doesn't mean we can't use a napkin to pick up whatever you're eating at the table.
A great
Sherry,
point.
we should this year. Can we find a place where we can like send swabs in from the World Series?
No. Let people not even realize what they're doing. Go ahead, Blue. Welcome.
Oh, hey, I was just wondering, can I hang out up here because it's louder, believe it or not? And I really want to hear Jim's voice. Do that soothing, wonderful thing while I play.
Thank you, Blue. That's nice.
You're welcome to read aloud. I have books. But yeah, can I just stay up here even if I don't talk?
We'll
even allow a nature extremist to join the panel.
I know.
She's so red. Do you have any questions or comments besides you love his voice?
Yes, I would like you to return to the strawberry versus grape jelly discussion. Yep. That was a bit of a soul killer for me.
Look, I have a lot of respect for Grape Jelly Nation. Don't get me wrong. It's a rich lineage, and your community is well founded and well served. But
would you have a strawberry with a peanut?
I'll be completely honest with you, Blue. When I was asked about the strawberry versus grape, I was really thinking in a vacuum rather than as in the, like within the context of the peanut butter and jam sandwich.
Yeah.
I might, I'm going to have to do some soul searching of myself here, Blue. I think you've really given me something to think about.
Okay, so now if I bring you some peach jelly
made
with Georgia peaches, am I going to throw a wrench in those theories?
I mean, it sounds like the kind of wrench I would love to have thrown into my theories, to be honest with you. Like, we should all be trying new things.
Yeah, not to backseat drive on this whole PB&J adventure. But like, if you really, because like the peach, just gonna riff here. A few slices of banana.
Elvis Presley.
Yep.
With the peach, I'm feeling a smoothie, only on
Wow.
bread. Oh my god! Oh my god!
I'm looking at this,
deconstructed
Jim.
the smoothie.
390 calories it says for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm doing the math here.
Yeah.
It seems like, it might be like a diet food I could do for the whole series.
You
And,
complement that with getting some steps in. I think, that could be the ticket right there. I think of myself as like a fitness influencer, really, more than anything.
Except for the one night we're going for that fabulous Japanese,
Mm.
Brian.
Oh, yeah. Yep,
We-
some
We'll have
musashi.
to, whoever's in town, you got to go with us for that awesome Japanese.
There's a Japanese garden in Las Vegas. I'm very confused.
Oh, this
Basically,
You don't have any
Japanese
water.
food.
a garden of steak, Blue.
So
It's a
okay, so
garden of
beef I
steak.
totally get. You're landlocked. That's cool. The seafood freaks me out. Like, where are you getting that? You don't have
fly it
any
in.
water.
My daughter says that that the snails are no good in Vegas. She says, I only go to Paris for snails.
Oh, sounds like a trip's inevitable, Dad.
Yeah, she says desert snails are no good.
All right. Well, I don't want to distract. I want Jim to talk more. Tell us how peanut butter and jelly started.
Well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned bananas. One of my neighbors growing up was this older gentleman when I was a kid named Frank DeWitt, and he would swear by a peanut butter and banana sandwich with some honey drizzled on it, and it's pretty hard to beat. It's pretty hard to beat, to be honest with you. I haven't had one in a while, but I think PB&Js for me were just a holdover from my bachelor lifestyle when I was younger, where like all my fridge had in it was a pound of cheese, some boiled rice, and then peanut butter and jam and bread in the cabinet. I'm a simple man when it comes to food, and so simple has been enough for me. I'd be embarrassed to admit how many peanut butter and jam sandwiches I've eaten in my life. It's a non-trivial number. Let me put it
Okay, so would anybody be offended when I say I only eat the peanut butter on my sandwich?
What? So,
yeah, I don't put anything else but peanut butter.
But so you just make a peanut butter sandwich, but you eat the whole sandwich. It's not like you make a sandwich and then only eat part of it, because that would be weird. But no, this makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Peanut butter only on the bread.
No.
Crackers.
Yeah. No. Do it. You be you. Absolutely. I'm actually learning all sorts of great tips about making peanut butter and jam sandwiches since I started hosting the podcast. Brian Winter came on the other day and totally blew my mind. He says you put peanut butter on both sides, and then you put the jam in the middle, and that way the jam doesn't get soaked up into the bread. That was a bit of a game changer for me.
Well, Jim, only a monster would not do that. I mean, seriously. What are you talking about here?
That's not how Mama raised me. That's not how Mama raised me, Brian. I had to learn.
One side. Then your bread is all dry.
Yeah, whatever you gained by switching to grape or even thinking about it, you just lost by this. Like, are you telling me that you have just been doing peanut butter, like bread, peanut butter jelly bread?
Yeah, that's how I was raised by wolves.
How fucking old are you? Oh my God.
What I'm telling you is I've seen the light. I'm evolving as a person, as a sandwich artist. Like I'm developing as a person is what I'm saying.
If like the next thing out of your mouth is I'm no longer wearing white suits, like I'm out. I'm out.
Well, they're changing the name from Rec Poker to Rec Peanut Butter.
Yeah. I like that. You're giving us something to work into, something to develop into. I appreciate that.
Of course. Donna, did you have any more questions or comments?
That's done.
I better not.
Banana. My daughter loves the way
banana.
Donna says banana.
Nice.
All right. I just wanted to circle back to you, Donna.
Just that I love Jim to bits.
Oh, you're so sweet.
He is a hidden gem in the poker world. We need more of him. He brings fun to the table. He brings fun everywhere he goes. And I hope, Jim, that we will meet again. And please don't ever change. I love you lots.
That's so sweet, Donna. If you ever change, I'm going to be very disappointed. And I hope that we do get to meet up again. It was really nice to get a hug in person over the winter there. That was real sweet.
Patty knows chance I'm going to change. Hell'll freeze over and Devil's already got a restraining order on me, so that ain't going to happen.
That sounds about right. I think so.
If any of our listeners would like to come up and ask Jim a question or make some comments, please request in the bottom left corner. Go ahead.
Have you ever had a fluffernutter, Jim?
Oh, I have had a fluffernutter. It's like a peanut buttery chocolate caramelly thing. Is that right? Like if I'm thinking about the right thing.
I'm just reading this thing. I'm reading all about jelly sandwiches here. They say
Isn't it with fluff?
It's with marshmallow fluff.
Oh,
yeah, marshmallow fluff
in the middle.
Oh no, I have not.
I was like,
did you not go to camp? Were you never a child? Did anybody
I did go to camp.
Are you
I
feral?
did go to camp.
What is wrong with you people?
No, I mean, I admit I was raised by wolves. This is not, I will not dispute that. But I have never had a fluffernutter. Now I do know what you're talking about. Fluff wasn't a thing around here in Southern Ontario in the 80s. We weren't fluffing. I guess.
I'm not a marshmallow person, so I always passed on the fluff.
Yeah.
What are those cookies I had? They're orange, crunchy, Minnesota. I can't remember the name of those. I'll have to figure it out anyway.
Yeah, I'm only an honorary Minnesotan. Unfortunately, I'm working on that. But they and Canadians have a lot in common. I feel like we're brethren.
Yeah.
Well, you both have very similar voice inflections. I don't know. So what's the deal? Minnesota is like a hotbed for poker.
It really is. Yeah.
Like
must be something in the water. I mean, they are disproportionately well represented in the poker world. And there's only 2 card rooms in the whole freaking state.
Wow.
Well, I think part of that is they need something to do in the winter. Besides appropriate.
There's 2,000 home living room card rooms.
Right. Let's welcome Superstar Philip to the panel. Do you have any comments or questions?
Hey, Phil. Nice to see you up here.
Nice to see you too. I have a 13-part question for Jim.
Oh, okay. Yes. Look out.
When are you going to be paying the $20,000 that you owe me? And as this is a public forum, I would like an actual answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will take the answer off the air.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think you know the answer, Phil, for the answer to when I'll be paying the fictional $20,000 for the fictional knapsack that you claim to have lost, or something ridiculous like that. Yeah, Phil's a bit of a character. Don't believe a word he says.
Well, he's 187,296th on the all-time poker money list.
Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
According to his profile.
That's actually changed. I'm sure it's much lower now.
Yeah. I knew I was in trouble once I saw Superstar show up in the chat here. Hello, Phil.
I know you were in trouble as soon as I saw Phil.
I love it. I love it. Brian, you have any more questions or comments?
I don't know. I'm good.
All right. We typically try to keep our show to an hour and a half. So, Blue, do you have any more comments or questions? We'll just go around the horn.
Are you saying that you're going to end? And if I ask a question, I can hear him talk more?
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I'm saying. So ask away. You got another hour if you want. If you
That's
take
right.
it.
Now we also have about 576 episodes of the Rec Poker podcast that you might enjoy. I would encourage you to go check those out too. It's a lot of fun.
But on the podcast, I don't get to interject occasionally and make
true.
witty repartee.
That's true. come get your free community account over at Rec Poker. I'll see you in the study sessions.
Don't. Why would you be so dumb as to offer that to me?
That was funny, Blue.
It's literally recorded. Like, you can't get out of it.
Blue, come join the YouTube channel chat.
Yeah, that's right. It is fun. It is fun in the chat. It is fun in the chat. That's
it
true.
is very fun in their chat. I've been there myself.
Yeah.
Speaking of YouTube, you guys can join my YouTube channel, Sherry Pluskota 9212, to get the replays of our interviews.
Nice.
So please join that YouTube channel. Let's welcome Merv while Blue thinks of more questions to occupy our time with. Welcome, Merv. Do you have any questions or comments?
G'day. Thank you, Sherry. Jim, you know, it's been years. It's been far too long. Mate, life has been pretty interesting this past year. So I hope we get a chance to catch up in Vegas, a proper catch up in person, and that would be really awesome.
Yeah. No, me too, man. It's been the last couple of years have been tumultuous. It's been a roller coaster, and you've been such a good influence in the poker world and such a good friend. I'd love to. I hope we do get a chance to overlap some dates and get a cold drink together, my friend. We're well overdue. Well overdue. Great to hear your voice.
Yeah, same, mate. Same. I think I hope you've enjoyed the Spaces experience, and I might even I wouldn't mind getting you up on another one just to give Rec Poker a couple of plugs. And
sure, it'd be fun. So far I'm averaging one audio miscue per space, which sounds about right. Regular listeners to the show will know that I'm kind of famous for the audio miscues. I even managed to do it as a guest. I don't even have to be the host. So I can't wait to see how I'm going to screw up your space, Merv. Let's do it, man.
Well, see, you're a professional in that way, and that there's just one audio miscue each time. Yeah. It's consistency that we're after, Jim. Like, as long as you've
really
got that
impressive.
audio miscue, we can make fun of.
Thank you.
Hey, Merv, do you have dates of when you're going to be in Vegas, Merv?
I'm trying to collect dates of everyone else, because, like, I could pluck a date out of the sky and say, yeah, I'm going to be in Vegas in that date. But if no one else is going to be there, there's no point. I'd rather not go. So I'm going to try and I'm collecting up everyone's dates that I can. And there's like 60 or 100 people just on here that I'd love to catch up with. I'm probably not going to be able to get to see everyone, but I want to try and make as many as possible.
Merv.
Yeah, we'll all be there at different dates. That's just the way it goes.
The different dates is the thing. Not. Everyone's been saying, oh, everyone will be in Vegas, and I know everyone will be, but not necessarily at the same dates. I've had a lot of experience trying to coordinate 50 or 100 people.
It's hard
to be in the same place for 4 days straight. And it's, sometimes even just getting 10 people. When we were doing the podcast, trying to get 3 people to match international time zones. I've seen you, Jim, even with the daylight saving changes over there. You guys have trouble.
Right.
Between North America and the US of A, and you still got trouble with time. So getting people together at the same time. But I'm determined.
We've started doing trying to do like things for breakfast before the tournament starts. It's really like the only time that you can. Otherwise, you're waiting for people to bust. It's a surprisingly difficult time to organize a get together. That's for sure.
It absolutely. That's why I try not to do that.
Yeah.
That's precisely why.
I'm going to be doing my best to make a core thing happen, and definitely, Jim. I'd love you to be coming along to it. So
wouldn't miss it, pal.
I've got your dates down. So I really wish I could sit here and chat. We're supposed to be moving my grandfather.
Now, you've got a big day. Yeah, go take care of business, man. Thanks for chipping in, though. It was great to hear your voice, man.
Take care.
I had the one opportunity to. I said, "Oh well, I've just got to go move my car," and then I thought, "Oh, good, I can talk to Jim."
Perfect. I'm glad you did, Merv.
You're the man, buddy. Yeah.
Take care, everyone. You take
All
care,
right.
Jim.
Take care.
All
Really
right.
good seeing you.
Best to the
All right.
family. You too, man.
Thanks, man. Bye.
That's awesome. Such a good guy.
Such a great guy. I guess he doesn't want to see the rest of us because he didn't ask us our dates. But anyway, go ahead, Blue.
Yeah. He was like,
I
whatever.
haven't got time for
He
that.
just blew us all off. So
I'll
you
see you
hear
in
the man.
You'll be here for the next couple of months, so I can catch up with Jim. It's a rarity. So
Love you, Merv. Just messing with you.
All
Go
you need
ahead,
to worry
Blue.
about, Merv, is when is Donna going to be there?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, like, that's all that matters, because everybody else will be there when Donna's there.
I'm just going to touch on that for her, if that's okay, Donna.
That's fine. I ain't saying anything.
Okay. Somebody had offered to her a couple of months ago to buy her airline ticket. And when we reached out to that person about, I don't know, a week or two ago, they changed their mind. And so she will not be coming. So we're going to just keep on moving. Go ahead, Blue. You had a question.
We'll see. Who knows? There's still time, Donna.
That's a horrific lead-in for me.
It's okay. It is what it is. We're just, her and I've been dealing with it for 2 weeks. It is what it is.
I know. I just I wish I was springboarding off a happier moment. So, okay.
Anything you say is going to make us happy, I'm sure, because of your quick wit. So keep on moving.
You mean my high wit? I'm that way. No, I actually have a legitimate question.
All right, hit me.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Blue, and I play poker. How did you get into all this? Seriously, how did you take? What made you say, okay, look, being a recreational player is kind of a thing, and that's going to be my angle? How did you start out playing such that you were like, wait, there's an underserved community of those of us who are underestimated just because we like to have jobs too?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. I'm not even sure I did it intentionally. I think I just decided, I have a very natural love of poker, and I get excited sharing things that I love with people. I always have, whatever it is. And poker is just such a rewarding game that it's easy to get excited about it. And, when I joined Reg Poker, I did it anonymously. I didn't even want to give my real name. I didn't turn my camera on for the first 2 months. I just lurked in the study groups. And the goal was not to start hosting a podcast and start writing articles about the perspective of recreational poker players. I actually don't know that I have a good answer for you, Blue, because I really just got more and more involved in this great group at Rec Poker and started just taking on more and got more confident in my own abilities. And I kind of realized how easy it can be to just sort of take your game to the next level a little bit with a little help. And it's all kind of just happened very naturally and steadily since then. And now I'm hosting the podcast, and people like Sherry and Brian are asking me to come and talk on their show. And now that you say it like that, I kind of wish I could take credit for having some sort of master plan, but I've just kind of been in the right place at the right time. And I think the rest of the poker world is starting to understand that serious, fun, recreational players are a big piece of the poker world. And it's nice to be, someone that can speak for that group.
And I just want to give Jim a huge shout out, because he is a big proponent about the treatment of women at the poker table.
That's right.
And about getting more women involved. And I thank you for that effort, Jim.
Well, it's an easy cause to get behind. I'm kind of surprised more people don't have the same attitude about it, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess that's part of the problem, but yeah.
Well, and
I'm
I
happy to
think,
help.
well, thank you. I think the fury over Olga's beautiful picture on the magazine that resurfaced this week is a prime example of how much work is left to be done. And I'm just going to say that for me, it's not that this young lady who is beautiful and sexy and a great poker player made money for herself by getting on the cover of the magazine. It's not that at all. It's the double standard of the magazine that is the problem for me. And for people to say, oh, we heard all kind of comments from some of the top poker players that, oh, she's just trying to get her bag of money, leave her alone. Hey, guess what? We agree. But the problem is, I want to see a sexy guy on that cover. Why isn't that happening? Right. Oh, that's right. Because there's a double standard, right? Yeah. So there we go. But anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
No, listen. I think we need more people on that particular soapbox, and I think.
Can I play devil's advocate for a hot second?
Yes, let Jim finish his thought for a minute. Go ahead, Jim.
Totally.
Oh, sure. No, I was only going to say. Let me see. It's a human problem. It's not a poker problem. Just like we were saying before. If you get 100 dentists or 100 lawyers or 100 librarians in the room, some of them are going to be misogynists and some of them are going to be assholes, because that's just true of humans. So right. we're in this context of poker where I think particularly in live poker, women find it a much less comfortable environment. That's on us as a group to do a better job with it. But it's a bigger problem than just poker.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Blue.
Okay, so I caveat this with I am not a fan of the whole thing, photo, whatever. But I have to ask. You said that you said something to the effect of like, what about all the other kind of magazines and stuff like that? And did you read the woman who explained that she was on the cover as well? The woman who wrote the article? She was on the cover as well. And I actually like point blank asked her, I was like, did you like art direct it? Did you like decide what you were going to do and what you were going to wear? And she was like, well, I had some control. And it was interesting. I still think the cover's completely wrong. I think it's completely inappropriate, just so everybody knows. But I like to be contrarian. And I think I was too high to be articulate.
Well, it just, we've come a long way, baby. And yeah, sex sells, but, we need to be celebrating the accomplishments of everyone in the poker world, in my opinion, on the cover of poker magazines, and or covering stories that are, the hot topic of the day. And yes, sex sells, but that's the old cliche and, all that bullshit. Okay, sex sells. Guess what? We women want to see some men on there than sexy guys.
I want to do the calendar. I offered to make a calendar.
Right. It goes both ways. So if it's, sex sells, okay, then let's sell it for both sides of the, aisle, so to speak. But anyway, enough of that nonsense.
I'm burning your fucking soapbox.
Get off my soapbox. Reid, welcome to the panel.
Thanks. And yeah, I've been vocal enough on my own Twitter about how, my view was all about poker work and nothing about the magazine cover itself. But anyway, so I just want to go back to Rec Poker and ask, I don't want to talk for him. So if you don't know enough to answer, I can move on to my next question. But what are your views comparatively to Kessler's views regarding tournament structures?
I thought you were going to say concerning peanut butter and jelly.
Oh my goodness.
I think tournament structures are really interesting because I feel like different kinds of tours and like different kinds of poker players are more interested in different kinds of tournament structures. Like Run Good, for instance, intentionally runs relatively faster tournaments than some of the, like WSOP events or WPT events. Because I think the player, and they've talked about it in terms of like the players wanting to have fun, not, be up until 4 a.m. And it's a different experience as a recreational player. I think for professionals, you really want as many minutes, you want to see as many hands as you can. You want to have deep stacks. You want to allow your opponents to make more mistakes than you're going to make larger mistakes than you want to make. So having longer levels, I think makes more sense there from a professional point of view. Alan is very active and aggressive about his views on what the right levels should be. I think they should be carefully and meticulously crafted, but I think it's okay to have different kinds of levels for different kinds of tournaments and different kinds of players.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And yeah, as a recreational player myself, yeah, I appreciate shorter tournaments because, it's the opposite of what you say for the professional player. And yes, I consider Kessler, almost a wreck considering his win rate and whatever. But I want to enter a tournament where I have the most chance of winning because it goes so fast that they can't take advantage of how bad I am.
Right.
So I'm with you.
That's funny.
So, and then also, sorry if I missed it in a previous discussion. I got here rather late, but freeze outs versus unlimited rebuys versus a couple of rebuys.
Yeah, for me, it's I have a clear favorite. I think unlimited rebuys is completely unfair. Completely tilts the field towards players with deep pockets who can afford to just flip until they develop a big stack and bag with a big stack. Now they're the player to fear on day two. The players that can afford to do that are very well studied, are going to have a much different experience in day two than a lot of the other players that just get there having to turn down some of those spots because they're not bankrolled to just dip back into the rebuy. That being said, recreational players, if we're traveling to live events, I don't want to lose kings versus aces on the first orbit and then have to go play cash all night pissed off because I got a bad beat, in the first hand. So I like the ability to have one re-entry. I think that's a nice way for people to understand that they can pull the trigger without worrying that they're playing like scared money. Excuse me. But it doesn't give people the ability to just buy their way into a big stack on day two. So I like freeze outs. I have no problem with freeze outs at all. I think it's a more pure game, maybe in a way. But I think one rebuys are a nice middle ground that give people a little more confidence to pull the trigger. And I think it's a better player experience if they don't have to feel like they've busted unfairly so early.
Oh, go ahead, ASG.
I was just going to say I agree, and it definitely, I still don't know about it being publicity more than whatever when it comes to the guarantee numbers, but it certainly helps with that as well.
Yeah, it definitely does. And that's part of the business too.
And I love one rebuy. Go ahead, Donna.
I want to know, Jim, if you've thrown them bloody dice away. Them loaded dice.
So, Donna, we actually started. So Chris Jones, who produces the show, he has started recording with his phone as a different Zoom caller. Him rolling the dice separately on his desk so that no one can claim that it's rigged anymore, because we were rolling a lot of ones. Donna's referring to, we had a streak where we rolled like 14 out of 19 weeks. The first person to get their name in was winning. And it was like, that was crazy. I would think it was rigged too, except I was doing it right there. But yeah, no, that even though that was perfectly legitimate, we decided we needed to introduce a level of transparency. So now Chris rolls it with his phone camera so people can see.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have a new listener. Governor, welcome to the panel. Do you have any questions or comments?
Oh, I have unlimited questions, and I really appreciated some advice that I was given the other night when I had joined late. It was very useful for my game, and I just wanted to be here, mostly listening to what people were asking, but also slipping in a question once in a while.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And primarily, I'm a profitable player in real life, like at the casino, but I'm a negative net losing player online for pennies.
Yep.
And I'm trying to fix the holes in my game. For example, last week I actually had my first loss at the casino, which was a full house over full house scenario.
Ouch.
I had pocket twos and imposition called and a full house developed. The other guy had pocket jacks and ended up taking it. And I didn't know if I'd made a mistake. I know it was like 1 in 5,000 chance that would happen, but I didn't know if that was if I played it poorly, how that happened. I lost all my winnings plus like $100.
Yeah, Governor, that's one of the toughest spots. I have one question for you. Was it full house over full house because there were 3 of a kind on the board, or did you and the player with jacks both hit a set and there was a pair on the board? Because that does, yeah.
So sorry, he didn't have pocket jacks. I guess he filled his full house. There was no there was no pair. There was a pair on the board at the end,
And
which
a
was
jack.
pocket jacks.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. So no, you don't have to feel bad about that. Like set over set it's one of the worst feelings in poker. And basically full house over full house is just an extension of set over set. It sucks. You can never see another set coming in the way that you can see like a straight or a flush coming. It's just something that's going to happen very infrequently. You're generally going to win a lot of big pots when you make a set. And just sometimes you're going to win a big pot when someone else has the bigger set. And it's just the flow of the game. And it's bad timing that it was, when you had such a big chunk of your stack on the table. But there's no way you're getting away from it. Don't give yourself any grief for having lost a big pot when you got a full house. I think it happens all the time.
Stupid jacks.
Yeah. Also, yeah, jacks. That's tough.
Yeah, Governor. I
That's a
just
real
must
relief.
apologise for laughing because I love my ducks and Sherry hates jacks. That's the reason why I was laughing. I wasn't laughing at your question. I was just laughing that you brought up ducks.
Ducks.
Which is my favourite hand ever.
It's one of my favorites too. Yeah.
And Sherry hates the jacks. So please don't take that the wrong way. Just got to clarify that.
I would never take it the wrong way. You guys have been too useful and too valuable for me. I'm following the people in the room just in case there's more advice coming as time goes on. I had one other question, but it was really important, but I'll leave that for whenever the conversation breaks.
No, you go ahead, Governor.
All right. My next question is at the end of the shift, like at 12 o'clock exactly every night, the casino I play at, it's a 24-hour casino. And I will have built up, like I'll double my stack every night that I play there. Because I play weekends, I don't play, and I play Fridays. But I will. But by at 12 o'clock exactly, the dealers all get off their shift and they all start playing the games. And they all put on these ridiculous straddles, like $25 straddles on a 1-3 game. And I'm sitting there going, if I lose like one hand, the drawdown on my stack is so ridiculous. They're just rebuying. Like if they lose out on these, like they were putting in 5-4 offsuit, like half their stack on 5-4 offsuit. And so I have to know my pocket. I had pocket nines, and I was like, do I know that they're not going to have a better, like it's a flip at that point? Like, are they going to be betting something like pocket jacks, or are they going to be betting their usual 5-4 offsuit?
Yeah,
they're just going like every hand they're going all in, or what?
Yeah, good question.
Like, are they just re-raising like crazy? I didn't hear that part of the.
They're re-raising like crazy. It looks collaborative, although I'm not going to accuse them of that. They're like one person will raise to 20. Will put a blind of 25. The next person will re-raise them to $100.
Sounds like the hustle is on. I would be leaving at 12:01.
That's what I've been doing. I've been like, yes, I'm not good enough to know what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, if you feel that way, like the game might not be on the up and up, I would definitely use your intuition. A lot of the time too, like you don't know why you feel that way, but it's you got to realize that you've probably seen tens of thousands of hands. So something being a millisecond off, you may not notice it with your eyes, but your brain might be catching something that you're not even really honing in on. But I want to go to what you were saying, like these games that you get in where they're just like piling in. I think of the bike at one time. They had a $40 no limit, $40 max no limit, and so everybody would just go all in every hand. And you have to really think about it like the person basically has a random hand, and so if you've got a pair of nines in a game like that, that to me is really strong. The problem is that even if you're the favorite, you're really not the favorite if there's like 5 other people in the hand. So you have to be able to overcome those odds of losing your stack 4 or 5 times to whatever, probably not that many, but you get the drift. Like if you really work out the odds, you have to be able to withstand the variance, right? Like so
I'm
if
going to
you're
tell you something. I have a real problem with the dealers who I've been tipping all night coming out and preying on me as their customer, and I really resent that. When I used to deal, I'd never played in the game that I dealt in. Never ever played in the game I dealt in. Because I was taking tips from these people all night long. Why would I go after their stacks? I just think that is terrible that they're doing that. But anyway, Jim, you got anything to add?
I mean, whether it's intentional or not, or whether they are colluding or not, you're going to encounter those games where players are putting big straddles in, and players are playing big raises pre-flop. And I agree with what Brian's saying. Basically, if it's a variance game, now you can tighten up and you can make aggressive re-raises when you think that they're wide and get them to fold and win the pot instead. But it's a very different game of poker. And if it's not the game of poker that you're interested in playing, like, yeah, man, I would just rack up. Or, it depends how many tables there are. Maybe you can find a different table and not have to actually.
There's no way.
But yeah, no, it's just not a big enough space for.
Then, I wait 2 hours for a table at this place.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it sounds like they're kind of doing a disservice to their player population by introducing this dynamic. Because that those games, I'd want to be playing in my poker in my local card room after midnight. So I'd be kind of annoyed too if they were setting up this unfriendly dynamic.
That's so unfortunate. I hate to hear that. I think we're better than that as a community, but I guess we're not.
Right.
Governor, do you have any other questions, comments?
Great questions.
Yeah, it's been a fun crowd tonight.
Yeah, I'm really interested in this particular thing. When I play my native strategy, which is I just am an absolute nit at the table, and then I throw in bluffs, and the table looks like it's getting sick of me. And that's been working for me. But I keep trying GTO. Like I keep trying to adjust slightly more GTO ranges in when I'm when I'm first to enter. So when I'm first to enter, I'll try to throw in a GTO raise, and but it doesn't seem like it's positive EV at all. It seems completely negative every time I throw in. And the only thing I will gamble on a flush draw, gamble on a straight draw if the conditions are right. Bluff raise on a flush draw, bluff raise on a straight draw, because the odds are in my favor. But but when it comes to like king 8 suited on the button with first in, like it seems like it's a negative play, and I'm confused by it because I know that it's the computer suggested method, but I don't know if there's a different chart I should be memorizing. It's just a lot to memorize. Like I memorize I memorize my entire chart. Like I know everything I do when I go into the casino, and I'm fast with it, and I'm able to keep a conversation going. I'm not able to memorize all of GTO, which to me seems like a losing thing.
Yeah, I think GTO is something to study so that you know what the deviations from it are that your opponents are making. Like, what are the mistakes that your opponents are making relative to this perfect strategy? But I wouldn't advise anyone to actually play GTO at the tables, and certainly not in the games that players like you and I are playing in, like the low stakes cash tables, because the GTO concepts really depend on the other players at the table also playing in a GTO fashion. That's when they're required. GTO is about defense. It's about playing such a wide range of hands that you're more difficult to play against by players that are going to be very sophisticated and analytical and good at limiting the range of hands that you're playing. There aren't many of those players in the games that we're playing. We should be worried more about playing offense. We don't need to worry about defense. We need to bet big with value hands, play tight ranges, semi-bluff effectively, play big pots in position, and that's enough. Like that should be enough. Now, you still have to play poker post-flop. Like that's the hard part. The hard part about poker is playing with those middle strength hands. And most hands are either garbage or they're middle strength hands. And everyone knows how to play garbage. But middle strength hands are the hands that good players make money from and bad players lose money from. And the only way to sort of get better at that is by playing more of them in position and trying to study them in advance with, I don't know if it's going to be in your case like Range Trainer Pro or Equilab, or there's so many great tools out there to get more comfortable with it. But I would tell you, Governor, how do you study? Do you talk to other people about poker, or are you someone who just relies on the charts and like watches videos and listens to the podcast, and you're mostly like just sort of speaking to yourself about this kind of stuff? That's how
I have a professional. The brother of my friend is a professional who's a multimillionaire, but he refuses to have a conversation with me until I show, until I have long-term results. Okay. And also, he's a bit of an antisocial guy. So I'm hoping one day I'll be able to talk to him. But he trained guys for years. Right now, what I use is I watch primarily Carrot Corner poker.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's been useful for me trying to widen my range a bit. And then, but the charts I'm using that I have memorized were advanced poker training, the base charts that the no limit hold'em starting hand charts.
Yeah.
I can share the site if that would be interesting to anyone. It is profitable at my local casino. That's why I would even suggest it.
Yeah. So
please share it. Please share it. Sorry. Please share it.
Yeah, Advanced Poker Training is a great organization. We have a few members that do study groups with their, bot drills and that kind of stuff. So the charts, Governor, they're going to put you in a good place from a pre-flop point of view, so that you're not carrying a bunch of garbage post-flop. But like I say, the real art in poker is post-flop play, and it's hard to learn without sort of bouncing ideas off people and hearing other people's assumptions about what kind of ranges people might play post flop, what kind of actions and sizes people might make post flop. Because the problem is you're in a perspective desert, because it's just, you've got these charts and this like mathematical outputs, and then there's your interpretation of it. And even if you're the smartest guy in the world, you just need, in my opinion, what we all need more is people to kind of challenge our assumptions a little bit and make us sort of consider some alternatives to the way that we might play something. And that's when you're going to start making progress post flop, when, your, I don't know how to say this, sort of like your interpretation is more flexible as to how the kind of mistakes other people might be playing. I don't know if that makes any sense, but the post flop stuff is something you're not going to get from a chart. You're only going to get that from playing and talking to people about hand histories and the decision points that you come across. And you need to expose yourself to the assumptions of other people.
Excellent. Well, it's shared with the space. I don't know when it will show up. And yes, that's what I've been hungry for. I've been wanting to have a conversation with just other people who've played profitably, let alone professionals.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a plug. I'll admit it's a plug. But go sign up for a free account at rec.poker and just post in the forums. The things that you're talking about right here are a very common point of discussion in our forums. And you'll find a lot of other serious, profitable recreational poker players that are all struggling with exactly the same stuff.
Rec.poker. Is this a link somewhere?
I'm not sure if it's linked anywhere in here, but literally just www.rec.poker. That's our learning.
Will do.
Yeah, check it out.
It's free.
Donna.
I can't afford it if it ain't free, but I'll do free.
Yes, ma'am.
Go try it.
Donna, put the link for Rec Poker in our chat for us, please, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you.
Is it .com? Jim?
Yes.
.com.
No, that's it. Just rec.poker. They let us have it. How cool is that? www.rec.poker.
Thank you.
Yeah.
ASG, go ahead.
Yeah, so I haven't listened to Only Friends Every Day to know what Berkey and them think. So want to get your opinion.
Okay.
So Fields or Wilson, who do you want week 1 starting?
Great question. I think we can get a lot out of Wilson this year. I think the odds of him being around next year are very low because he's going to be worth a lot more than Pittsburgh's going to be willing to pay. If we end up turning to Fields at some point this year just to sort of see what he's got in our system, neither one of them are under contract for next year. But if you were to ask me who I'd prefer to have starting next year, based on what I know now, I'd say Justin Fields. But I do want to see what Russ has in the tank, and I think he's got a lot to bring with the right scheme and the right team. Great question, ASG.
ASG, you also helped me, I think, solve this whole magazine thing. Sherry, what do you think? Sherry, Donna, and Blue, what do you think? What if Berkey changed it from an Only Friends to an Only Fans? Would that kind of even everything out?
No.
We're just going to keep moving
I've met Matt, and it's definitely a no. Sorry, Matt. Love you and all that lot, but it's a no.
Since ASG brought up by that crew, you guys kind of talked about, he brought Berkey. Let me regroup. Berkey brought up doing away with buy-ins of $1,000 or under $1,000 at the WSOP. And Jim, I know you took a little issue to that and gave your opinion on that. Can you touch on that for us, please?
Sure. So Matt Berkey knows a lot more about poker than I do. And he's been a friend of the show. He's one of our learning partners. I respect what he has to say about poker and about excellent football teams for the NFL. The guy's he's got great taste. I can't argue with that. But he's coming at it from a professional point of view, and I'm coming at it from a recreational point of view. And he even makes some good points in his argument about the effects of inflation, the higher rake on the lower buy-in events and how that disproportionately affects recreational players. The experience at the venue when we play in these large field tournaments. And I think all those things are true, and we should still have low buy-in tournaments. I think it's a magical experience that is more to do with the experience of playing poker and loving poker and getting hooked on the WSOP than it is about, making sure that the winners get X amount and, not having too many lines in the venue and that kind of thing. And I think, Matt puts these views out there knowing that people are going to disagree with them. And I respect his opinion and the way that he comports himself. We just happen to disagree about this. And it's an easy thing for me to get behind to say, yeah, I want to play in more bracelet tournaments. I'm a recreational player. I can't go down there and drop, $2,000, $2,500, $5,000 to play in these tournaments. But the first time I went down for WSOP, I played in a couple of these low buy-in events, and I mean, it got me. I didn't cash, but it felt different playing in a bracelet event.
I mean, let's face it, when you're trying to get more people involved in poker, in our case, more female poker players, for those of us that are trying to do that, their budget's a big deal. And new players how many new players? Just think back when all of us were new players. Are you going to dish out $1,000 for a tournament as a new player? Or do you want to dish out $300 for a tournament at the WSOP as a new player? I mean, to me, it just would I don't know. I don't want to say limit, but I think it would discourage the new players from coming if there weren't lower price points.
I think that's true. And I think that there's also something to be said for sort of preserving the prestige of the brand and not diluting it by having like all low buy-in events, or, there's lots of ways that they can keep it special. But I do think having a few, because listen, recreational players, they can also just not play bracelet events,
Absolutely.
They don't have the right, we're not all entitled to go compete for a bracelet.
No, and I'm going to tell you how many truly new players are thinking that they want to even, attempt to win a bracelet.
Right.
I mean, that's not even in their mindset.
No.
Their mindset is, I want to go and give, this a shot.
Yeah.
And it has to be affordable for them.
So
we got to look at it from a lot of different ways. Go ahead, Blue.
Oh, I don't remember what I was going to say. I have a lot of opinions on this stuff. I remember that day. I +1 you on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think I qualify as the player that you're looking to help. Like, I will pay $1,100 for a tournament. I don't want to. And part of why I'll do it is because I know the return. Like, I know it's 2.5 days of hell, but like the return, I can do it, but it's annoying. I prefer when they don't even have to even just middle of the road expensive, but also just like a day. Like that to me is a huge one because half the recs work.
Right.
So like I have to if I want to play a multi-day, I have to win Friday night.
Right.
And then I have to go in Saturday morning because I'm doing the last qualifier and I'm exhausted and it's awful.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, I think it's more than half of rec players are worker bees.
Yeah.
I think it's more like 85%.
Yeah.
Of rec players are still in the workforce. So that's a point well made. Governor, did you have any? Go ahead, ASG. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, also, I'll go, $1,100. That's a lot for a tournament, and then somehow fire 3 bullets into a 600. So.
I'm comfortable. I've done some $1,500s and $1,000 ones, and that doesn't bother me. The point I'm trying to make is that if we can't discourage the new player by not having price points that they can afford, is my point. But I'm looking.
Oh yeah, I never would have played a tournament poker if it wasn't for dailies.
Yeah. Right.
No,
of course.
And I see Merv pop back up here. And, I'm wondering if he cares about anyone besides Jim or not. Should we let him back up? I mean, Jesus. Go ahead, Merv. Welcome back. Whenever you're ready, Merv.
Oh, he might. I think, look, he's just muted.
Just connecting. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
He's connected. It takes a minute to get connected.
Yeah. Thanks. I wasn't expecting to see you guys still going because when I popped on before, I thought, sounds like Sherry's winding up. I better jump on. I should have known better. It's like this is the thing with Spaces, Jim. Everyone says, I got to hop off. And everyone, I'm going to take a few days off. And we say, yeah, we'll see you in 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's a fun group. It's hard to stay away.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you think there's any chance of doing something that can top being the Norman Chad, one of the Norman Chad selections?
I mean, that would be pretty hard to imagine. Merv, you were so kind to mention my name to Norm, and I absolutely took a screenshot of my name on the TV.
Yeah.
I said that to my mom.
Nice.
I did. Yeah.
Don't introduce her to Norman, but
no, yeah, right. No, seriously. And the funny thing is, Norm and I have developed quite a fun rapport on Twitter now.
Yeah.
Giving each other a hard time at every possible opportunity. So I have to thank you for that. That was a really fun moment for me.
His last tweet to me was that he's embarrassed to know me, Jim.
Yeah, that's right.
Sheesh. I bought the guy's shoes, Jim. Lucky shoes. The best thing you could buy at Target. And no love.
And Jim, I definitely, I may have been one of the few that actually mentioned your name, but on behalf of the thousands of people that you've touched from Rec Poker for all these years now, you're just a machine, a steam engine, mate. You just keep going. I don't know how you keep adding content to the site, and then you go, "Oh, we're doing something new." I go, "What? Is that another thing? What does Jim do?"
It's extremely kind of you to say. I mean, listen, Merv, you led the way with the Post Flop Poker podcast. That was one of the ones that I was listening to, cutting my own teeth and thinking about what I was going to be like as a poker strategist. And I lay a lot of it at your feet. You really did a great job, and I really appreciate it. It's great to be able to continue your excellent tradition, sir.
And it was definitely one of my fondest times with Rec Poker. My membership lapsed because at that time it was over the limit, and to actually push it back under the limit would have meant quite a bit of shuffling around. And I thought, I'll get to that.
No, I remember.
And I still think, I've got to get to that. So yeah, there's so many times I've thought of stuff I could do with Rec Poker and you, and it's just been a time thing. This last year has been every month has turned into like a year, and then every week feels like it's every day feels like it's a week.
Sure.
So,
for sure. Yeah.
But we're coming through the other side now. We've still got our grandfather. He's 93, and he's as good as he can be, and he's just cheerful. This guy, like, people say that I'm the nicest guy on Spaces. If he was on Spaces, I'd have competition, stiff competition. I've never heard him raise his voice. Never heard him raise his voice in my lifetime anyway. Not 93 years, because I wasn't there for the first 40. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, you come by it honestly, my man. You
do. All right, stop blowing smoke up each other's asses now. Come on.
Well, Donna, it's no, it's a fair call. It's a fair call, but I must admit, I constantly think of blowing smoke up Jim's ass in the DMs all the time and saying just what great work he's doing. Every time I see something, or I just want to get on and comment, or there's all those forums and stuff. Man, if I had a spare 24 hours a day to put aside to poker, that's where I'd be putting it.
And that's great advice. Hey, Governor, do you have any other questions or comments for Jim?
Yes. Thank you for the resources. I know Jonathan Little well, and I'm looking forward to reading the page. This is I saw the workbook. I'm looking forward to reading through it.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, Jonathan's been another one of those great friends to Rec Poker for a long time.
So that my next question would be Streets of Value. I think it was just a bad I think it was just a luck of the draw thing because I made good money that night. I think $500 or whatever.
Nice.
But after I had this beat, but when I first showed up, I had kings, queens. I had king, queen suited, paired the board. Not paired the board, rather. I had kings and I had queens on the board.
Okay.
With my kings and queens, and I think I put in like $200 into the pot over the different streets and was beaten. I mean, but no big deal. Like it was a straight versus my my kings and queens.
Sure.
But what sorts of hands do I want to be continuing with? And then my secondary follow-up question would be, what sort of how many streets of value do, for example, does two pair have, two high pair versus how many streets of value does a straight have, high straight, low straight? Where would I be looking for those kinds of resources?
Okay, great question. And it's actually, there's one answer for both of those questions, and that is board textures. So two pair on a very spread out, uncoordinated board is maybe a 3 streets of value hand. The same two pair on a much more coordinated board is maybe even just a bluff catcher, or maybe 1 street of value. And so if you had king queen, for instance, on a board like king queen 7-4-2 with 3 different suits on there and no flush, that's a very strong hand. There's really not a straight available. There's not a flush available. You got top 2 pair. It kind of depends on if it's a single raise pot or a 3-bet pot pre-flop, but you should feel pretty confident going for value and getting called by worse 2 pair hands or maybe even some 1 pair hands, depending on the sizing. Now, you take that same king queen hand. If the board is, king queen jack 9, 6 with 3 spades, and people could make a straight very easily, and they could make a flush very easily. Then, even though you've still got 2 pair, you really are not playing a value hand anymore. Now you're in a bluff catching mode. If you make a bet on a scary board like that, the hands that are going to call your bet are ahead of 2 pair. They're not behind 2 pair. So you can't really be value betting in that kind of a situation. So it really depends on board textures. Now, the other thing I just want to mention is the difference between the absolute strength of your hand and the relative strength of your hand, which is basically just like as we've kind of been talking about here. We get married to the absolute strength of our hand, particularly with big pairs. But as boards degrade and become more coordinated, our hand just kind of gets demoted in value. Its relative strength is now not as important. Sorry, is more important than its absolute strength. So some good resources for this. Obviously, of course, we do a bunch of work on board textures and range intersection at Rec Poker. So, of course, I'd always encourage you to check that out. Gareth James also has some really good resources on board textures, on flop textures in particular, from the perspective of the raiser and from the perspective of the caller pre-flop. He has a couple different ways that you can work with him. But if you just Google Gareth James, he's got a couple different courses. They're a little more expensive. He's aimed at very serious, studious players that have time to really craft their game. You might want to start with, again, I'll just plug it. You might want to start with Rec Poker. We're only $15 a month, and we cover a lot of this stuff in a way that maybe you can build a bit of a foundation and then go take the next step with Gareth when you feel a little more comfortable. So but that would be it. Board textures.
Definitely. Thank you. That was helpful already.
Yeah, good.
Right now, my circumstances are I have a family. I am the eldest male of the boys, but I'm taking care of my parents. And so I have a absolute limit because I talked about this. I'm the money manager for my family. And
right.
So, and I option trade for a living. So what I'm doing right now is my limit is they're saying, look, no one else, they're actually very anti-gambling, but they looked at my results and they're like, look, we can't deny it. Like,
good.
Keep going to the casino. You're doing well. You're helping us out. but the limit is $1,000. If I take $1,000, once I've lost $1,000 in a single, series of set, like if I go 3 times and I've lost $1,000, I'm out. I can't go again.
Got it.
That's not like, it's not they won't allow me. It's just I work with my family. I don't fuck them over because they're sorry for the language. They're trusting me with a lot, and
Sure.
it's too easy to go tilted and then fuck over my entire family. So that's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm reticent to invest in anything beyond just continuing to grind so that I've got a better base rate that I can, I want to be able to take more losses. Bad variance happens. I want to take more losses before I'm not able to go back and keep making this really decent income.
Now, what stakes are you playing, Governor? Is this cash, or it sounds like cash?
Cash 1-3.
Yeah, 1-3. So listen, I don't want to rain on your parade here, but $1,000 it's way too easy to lose $1,000 at 1-3. Like, even if you play perfectly, you statistically it's not unlikely for you to bust $1,000 in a relatively short term. You'd have to get unlucky, but people get unlucky all the time. So I'm not sure. Like, it's great to have a stop loss for a session, for instance. Like, I don't like to go down more than 3 buy-ins myself. So at 1-3, if I'm buying in for $300 to get 100 big blinds, I'd probably only carry $1,000 as well, because if I lose more than 3 buy-ins in a day, it's just not my day, and I don't want to keep playing. But I can totally lose 3 buy-ins in a day, just getting bad beats and getting big pairs and losing flips. So I don't want you to feel like you played on 3 weekends. Each weekend you lost $350, and so now you're not able to enjoy this hobby anymore. Yeah, maybe we can have a more nuanced conversation about bankroll management, but I know that we're coming on long here. I'm happy to keep talking about it, but if you want to get into this a little more deeper, send me an email, jim@rec.poker, just jim@rec.poker. And I think it's an important conversation for someone in your position.
I definitely will. I've got $100,000 bankroll.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're really talking about like a stop loss.
It's stop loss. I mean, it's before I reconsider, because I mean, it's just looking at your family's entire financial.
Yeah.
They've got far more than I do, and I'm just looking at $100,000 bankroll. And I know that, and losing $1,000 when you're a profitable, like if I don't have the bankroll, I can't keep trading options at the level I do.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That makes
Anyway, I'll send you an email, jim@rec.poker.com.
Yeah, that's it. Just at rec.poker, and we'll pick up that conversation.
Love that. Yeah. ASG, any more questions or comments?
No, I think I know you like to keep the time frame, so I'm
good. No. If you have any questions or comments, you go right ahead. And I appreciate Jim hanging in here. I know he's a busy man too. So
3 hours later.
He said 3 hours later.
All good.
Okay, thanks. Blue, any more questions or comments?
I'm just still embarrassed. I think I stole 15 minutes with my stupid audio miscues. I'm so glad I could hit that audio miscue. That's right on line.
It's typical.
Yeah, it's not you.
No, it's me.
No, well, okay. What the low jack just went all in with 10 big blinds, and I'm a small blind, and I have ace queen off with 38 bigs, and everybody folded to me except for the guy to my left who has 33. So I'm gonna jam, right? Because that's what I'm doing.
Whoa!
Whoa! 1 player per hand. There.
1 player per hand.
We are not colluding.
Did you make a decision yet?
No, I did. I jammed.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure 33 is gonna fold, because why risk your whole
1,000%
stack against me?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Yeah. How many big blinds was the original raiser?
10, and he's all in.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No one's risking their stack.
Easy
cool,
jam.
I'm ahead. Oh,
yeah, you're ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
This is the situation where Luke laughed at me.
This is what this is. This was a motherfucker situation. It's fucking Jack 3, and the flop was 3-3 Jack. Okay,
Jesus.
He's using
Welcome
the
to
fucking
my
laughing
life.
emoji. He's
Wow.
laughing at me. He used
Oh,
the
boy.
laughing emoji. There needs to be a fuck off emoji.
Where's the fuck off emoji?
You are so fucking rude that I have unlocked the fuck off emoji for you.
You could just decide.
Laugh.
You could just decide that the laughing emoji is the fuck off emoji and laugh at him back. Then you'd know.
No, I want a solid New York fuck off emoji.
We say that a lot here in the Spaces. We want them to add a middle finger emoji. Here in the Spaces.
I feel like there are certain hands or like situations where you should get the extra option, like set over set.
It should unlock like a secret emoji keyboard that's only available for Max Payne. Yeah.
Like what just happened to me?
Yeah.
Ace Queen versus Jack 3, right?
Yeah.
That should have unlocked my choices.
I agree.
Of fuck off,
strong agree.
Red, you suck.
Yeah.
You were just
Poor
lucky as
Blue.
shit.
Yeah.
Don't fucking laugh at me, you miserable divorced person. I don't know.
Sounds like there's a void.
I mean?
Sounds like there's a void in the market, Blue. Maybe this is an opportunity to create the next great poker trend, the hidden keyboard, the Payne keyboard.
That's hilarious.
Could be the bad beat.
Blue
toolbox.
Blue is a creator.
Yeah.
Who's a creator?
You're a creator,
No,
a product owner.
I'm a creator?
Yeah, sort of.
But I create things to help people have sex. It's kind of like gambling.
I think the word fuck is, it fits in there somewhere. But anyway, moving on. Donna, did you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I don't think.
Besides 3 hours later.
Yeah, I was considering taking a job with Blue at one point, but I don't think my wife will go for the sex toy business.
No, it's not sex toys. It's not sex toys. You're fine. It's dating.
That's right. It's dating.
Yeah. It's queer dating, and you're not queer. So like, what's gonna? There's like zero concern.
And guess what? You're not dating either. But anyway, Donna, do you have any other questions?
Zero.
I take that as a no. She's gagging for air over there.
Oh, Jesus.
I love it. Okay, moving right along. Sophomore, any last comments or questions?
I think I'd get myself in trouble if I said anything else. No, I'm just kidding.
Merv, I'm going to give you the floor, Merv, but it's not here to,
You're on a short leash.
You're on a short leash.
You know how crazy you get.
We know how wild you are, man. Go ahead, Merv.
Yeah, thanks, Sherry. No, this one, there was a story I was going to tell Jim, which I've only told in Spaces once before. I don't think anyone here's heard it. I played one of the home games on Rec Poker. It was probably, if it wasn't the first time, it might have been the second. But basically, I shipped it, and I sort of qualified to get a pin sent to me, a Rec Poker pin.
Yeah.
Which I've heard about for years. I thought I'd never going to get one because I never play the home games. And then I play the home game, I win it. Jim kindly offers to ship one at international rates for free. I'm not saying I'll do that for everyone, but so eventually it comes in the mail a few weeks later. I open it up. It's this plastic bag, and I think that's a bit odd for Jim to send it in a plastic bag. It's actually. And I open it up, and there's a little note, and there's a couple of patches, but there's no pin. And then I see this 2-page letter in both English and French, and it's a full apology letter from the Canadian Postal Office saying, "We had some damage with this. You may not find it in its original condition."
What?
Which was true. It didn't actually show up at all. So But I thought it was so polite of the Canadian Post Office. Like, what other post office sends you a letter, a 2-page letter in 2 languages saying, "I'm sorry, but we lost something of yours."
What?
It was very polite. And yeah, obviously, Jim, those rec poker pins are so sought after. Even the guys in the post office now know to look out for it. Because if Jim comes down to the post office and starts shipping some, I reckon there's a couple people in that that local post office of yours that are onto
Did
it.
somebody
So
say
if you hear
pin,
of anyone else,
Donna?
Is that a real story, Merv? Are you having me on?
no, it's 100% real. I took a couple of photos and I was going to send them to you as proof because I thought that sounds incredible. So
Wow.
yeah,
I can't believe that. I had no idea. I wonder if they like pulled it open at the border thinking that it was like merchandise or something, but then why would they send the patches through and stuff? That's
yeah, or that unless the pin was classed as a maybe in Canada a pin could be classed as a dangerous item, because
it's true.
You could stab
You
someone
really
with it.
could. I mean, you could do a lot of damage with one of those. That's no lie. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, it sidelines as a weapon, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, a Canadian weapon.
Merv,
Merv,
was there a shot glass in the package by any chance?
A shot glass?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I definitely
would have. I've started using a shot glass as my card protector, and it's a rec poker shot glass, and it has been so much fun. Everyone wants to talk about when we're going to do shots. It's amazing at loosening up the table, and people ask me about rec poker, so it's like the best freaking thing ever in the world. I will send you your pin, compliments of the Canadian Border Patrol, with a shot glass one of these days soon. Remind me your address so I can make sure it gets to you safe. But you deserve that pin, sir. Just like many of our home game winners, you earned it. The games are free, but the prizes are real. Well done, and you should be able to wear it with pride.
There we go.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you, Jim. This is why you're probably one of the top people in poker. Like you're just
careful, guys. Careful. He's getting very complimentary again.
I can see smoke going up somebody's ass again.
I'm backing off.
I think it's time for us to say goodnight.
I think so.
Jim, I appreciate you being with us and for such a long period of time. I know it's an unexpected pleasure for all of us.
Yeah, I had a blast. It was nice to make some new friends here tonight. You know where I am on Twitter. Please reach out. I hope we get to connect again. And Sherry and Donna, I hope I get to see you down in Vegas or somewhere else real soon. Brian, it was nice to make your acquaintance as well. This has been a real pleasure.
Nice to meet you as well. I'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah,
yes,
I'll be there during your date, so I'll definitely see you. And we're going to make Brian take us for Japanese. So
I've heard about this Japanese meal. Yeah,
you guys are taking me to Musashi this time.
Hey, I'm there for it, bud. I'm there for it. I am definitely going to take you this time.
Let's just say whoever wins a bracelet this summer is buying for sure.
So we're going to starve to death this summer.
It's a race. It's a race is on. The race is on.
We're going to starve to death this summer. We're definitely on peanut butter and jelly.
This is going to be the summer. One of us is going to win a bracelet. One of us.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great weekend. Good night.
Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Bye, Jim. Take care, Jim.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.